If you're after a cool look but a not so subtle sound, then the MBRP Armor Black single side exit exhaust we have here is going to be for you. Designed to fit 2021 and newer 3.5 liter EcoBoost powered F-150s, excluding Raptor and Tremor models, this is a 4-inch catback that gives your EcoBoost truck a serious injection of attitude. Speaking of, we're going to give this one a pretty solid 4 out of 5 on our loudness meter. It's not too over the top loud, but it is definitely a noticeable difference versus stock in quite a few ways. Now, it's no secret around these parts that I really like MBRP's exhausts, and if you've been shopping around, you'll know that you'll be hard-pressed to find a better sound for your money. This is a full catback system, so it's going to retain your stock catalytic converters, and as you heard from the clips at the start of the video, this one's pretty loud. It's not quite as loud as you might expect, considering the fact that this is MBRP's race profile and the fact that this is a 4-inch exhaust. Now, it's easy to make EcoBoost engines sound a little too raspy, but surprisingly that's not what you get here. The tone from this exhaust is quite deep and characterful. You can almost hear each individual cylinder firing at low RPMs if you listen closely. I know that's not entirely accurate, but that's kind of what it sounds like to my ear. It's a pretty deep tone all the way through the rev range, and though nobody will mistake this engine for a V8 even with this exhaust on it, it sounds pretty darn good overall. And it's definitely going to have you wanting to bury the throttle a lot more often. Now inside the cabin, of course, you can also expect more volume than you would stock, but as is the case on the exterior of the truck, it's not too obtrusive. You get a nice low rumble when you're out cruising around, and a bit more wail when you really bury the pedal. It makes this a good option for a truck that sees a lot of usage or miles. You also aren't going to have to deal with drone issues like you do with other more budget-friendly systems, and that is thanks to this big old muffler here. This has a good amount of baffling inside to help keep things a bit more subdued, despite the fact that it is straight through, so it'll also help stave off drone and other unpleasant frequencies. Now visually, this is definitely a bit more subtle than you might think, as this one in particular exits in the stock location on the passenger side of the truck just behind the rear wheel. At a distance, you might be a little hard-pressed to notice it, but get up close and you're going to see this huge 5-inch black tip with the MBRP logo stamped into the side, and then you're definitely going to know that something is up. Now that black finish also extends to the rest of the over axle piping here, so you see less of it when it's on the truck, and it helps keep that material protected. But this is still going to be a much bigger exhaust than what you get from the factory, especially considering this tip is, 5 inches in diameter. Again, at a distance, you may not notice it right away, but as you get closer, you're definitely going to take note of it, and especially when you start it up, people are going to know you've got some kind of cool exhaust on your truck. Construction here is all 4-inch mandrel bent aluminized steel, so you'll get excellent flow, which is important on a turbocharged engine. There's really no restriction in this system at all, so you're not getting a lot of back pressure or anything like that. Now that aluminized steel is a material that is well suited to dry climates especially, so if you live in a place where there's not a bunch of salt on the road all winter or a ton of moisture in the air, this is going to be a great choice for you, and it's going to help save you quite a bit of money versus a T304 or T409 grade setup. And like we just discussed, the over axle piping and the tip here are also finished in that high temp black powder coat for additional protection against rust and corrosion. Whereas most companies just do a finish on the exhaust tip, MBRP did this whole section, and that is the key with their Armor Black series. So everything from the muffler to the tips is going to be coated. It's a pretty nice finish. It's going to lend itself to a bit more of a subtle look, especially if your truck is a darker color. And despite the size of the tubing and the tip, it's not going to be the first thing that catches your eye, and it just adds that extra little something to the system. Pricing comes in at about $950, and that does put this on the more affordable end of the spectrum when it comes to catbacks for this gen of F-150. And for what you're getting here, I think that's a pretty good value. It sounds great, it looks cool, and it doesn't cost you a ton of money, so you really can't ask for too much more. Installation will come in at a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter and should take you about 2 hours to get everything buttoned up. Now exhaust can be a bit finicky to work on because most of us don't have access to a lift, but this is certainly still a job you can accomplish at home. It is a totally bolt-on system, so there's no modification needed to your truck. It's going to utilize all your factory exhaust hanger locations as well. The only thing you might need to do is make a cut to the extension pipe depending on the size of your cab or bed. However, this is just one cut to the new exhaust itself, not your old one and not to your truck. MBRP includes instructions on exact measurements so you know exactly which truck needs what kind of cut, if it needs one at all. So it makes it pretty simple to accomplish, and we're going to walk you through that process right now so you can see exactly how it's done. With that, let's head on out to the shop.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact, 3/8 extension, 15, 13 and 10 millimeter swivel, 8 millimeter Allen socket, exhaust hanger tool, safety glasses, a grinder, tape measure and marker, and also not shown be a lift, pole jack, and a cutting tool like a chop saw. All right, today we're gonna put in an exhaust on our F-150. First, we're gonna watch a quick video how to uninstall a stock system, then we'll come here to install the new one.
So we've got the truck up in the air, and the first thing we're gonna need to do is remove our factory setup. We're gonna start with our 15 millimeter clamp here at our flex pipe. So we're gonna grab our 15 mil socket on our impact and loosen this up. So we'll come up here and loosen this clamp. Next, we can unbolt the brackets for our two hanger isolators here on our frame rail. For that, we're gonna use our 10 millimeter socket and extension on our ratchet. You want to hold on to this hardware when you remove it. Next, we're going to remove our hanger isolator for our muffler section. And the easiest way to do that is to use your 10 millimeter socket and extension on your impact and unbolt it. Now we do have a pole jack underneath our muffler to help support it. And once you have it unbolted, it does have a tab on the other side. Just have to lower this pole jack down a bit, get that out of its seat. Sure that's free and clear. Now we can unbolt our rear hanger bracket section, again with our 10 mil socket and extension on our impact. There is also a bolt on the inside of the frame rail. You want to support your exhaust when you do this. Now we can come up to our 2-bolt flange and remove the two 13 millimeter bolts holding that in place. Now we do have an extra set of hands at the rear of the exhaust because once we unbolt this, we'll bring this back and take it out of the truck. We've got our 13 millimeter socket and extension on our impact. We'll get these out. We're gonna hold on to these bolts. Once we clear the cross member, we can bring the front of our exhaust down, get the tail over the axle.
Now for our factory exhaust, since it's off, we just do need to take off our 4 hangers. Now I believe we're only reusing 3 of them, but we're just gonna take off all 4 just to be safe. We're gonna grab our exhaust hanger tool, just pop them off. Get this front 2, the middle one, and then our rear one. All right, now we can set these aside till we get these back on our truck. Now before we can get our new exhaust installed, you just have to see what configuration your truck has. Since we do have a Super Crew with a 6.5 foot bed, we have to cut down our extension pipe here. Now we're gonna cut it down to 15 inches. So you're gonna start at your flared end with the relief cuts, measure 15 inches, and then just mark that all the way around with a marker. As you can see, already started. Just gonna continue around, and then we'll connect them all. All right, we'll just connect these all around. Now we get our line going all the way around. We're gonna grab a pair of safety glasses, go out to our chop saw, get this cut off. Now as you get your pipe cut here, you just want to make sure that you clean up the edges. I did that off camera. Just grab the die grinder with the sanding pad, We just went around the outside and the inside edge, just making it have a nice smooth edge. Now that we have that cut, we can start getting our exhaust installed. So we're gonna start with our front flange pipe here. We're just gonna get this over this cross member here and onto our factory pipe. Now we're gonna be reinstalling with our factory bolts, but we do have a washer that is supplied with the kit that we're putting on. So we can go ahead and just loosely install those for now. We'll come back and tighten them up. And let this just kind of hang here for now. We can go ahead and get our extension pipe on. So now we're gonna put our extension pipe on. As you can see, I already have one of our 4-inch clamps on our extension pipe. Let's slide that over. I do have a pole jack here, just helps supporting everything. And now we just need to get our muffler on with our factory bracket and our clamp. So before we get our muffler on, I just wanna go over the clamp / hanger combo we have going on. So we're gonna grab one of our 4-inch clamps. Just gonna squeeze it together so that the washer falls down. You're gonna get your supplied hanger, slip it through like so, and then slide it so it locks in. Let go of our clamp. And then we're gonna slide this over our muffler, get our factory hanger on, and then get this muffler up in place. So I have our muffler up in place. I have our clamp with our hanger combo and our factory isolator hung on there. Just gonna slide this over our extension pipe, get this seated in place. We just need to rotate this so we can line up our hanger. We're just gonna thread in our 2 factory 10mm bolts back in here. We can actually just go ahead and tighten them down while we're here. We're gonna grab our impact, extension, and 10mm swivel socket and tighten these 2 down. So after our muffler, we're gonna put our clamp over, and we're actually gonna get our short black pipe here with our hanger, slide our single bolt hanger. So we're gonna slide this into our pipe first. So we might need to drop this down a little bit. We can get our hanger into place and thread our solo bolt in. We can go ahead and tighten that single 10mm bolt down with our impact and 10mm socket. So now we have our over the axle pipe. We already have our 4-inch clamp on there and our factory hanger. Now we're just gonna slide this over our pipe that we just installed, and we can get our hanger loosely installed with 2 10mm bolts. And then we'll go ahead and tighten this hanger down. So same thing as our last hanger, impact, extension, and 10mm swivel socket, and tighten that down. So we're gonna start at our front flange here. As you can see, the pipe is angled so it tilts down. Just gonna get that tightened with our impact and 13mm swivel socket. So we're starting off at our first 4-inch clamp. It's gonna be impact and 15mm socket. Now for our hanger clamp, it's gonna be hard to see because our nut is on top here, but it's the same thing, 15mm socket. Go ahead and tighten that down. Now our clamp after muffler, same thing, impact and 15mm socket. And then our last clamp here for our over the axle pipe. So lastly, we just have our tip. So you can put this in however far you want. It's just personal preference. We're gonna put ours right about there. Grab our impact 8mm Allen socket, tighten that down. And that wraps up our install of our MBRP Armor Black single exhaust system, race version with a side exit for a 2021 and newer 3.5 liter EcoBoost F-150, excluding the Raptor and Tremor. And remember, for everything F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.